my friends. Welcome to episode 429 of Prof and Dev Play Games. My name is Larry at Prof Plays Games on Blue Sky. And over there's Anthony the Dev. He is at Summerspeak on Blue Sky. How's it going, man?
Going okay.
Yeah.
Pretty uneventful weekend overall.
That's
mostly just finish up trip planning pieces.
Yeah.
Like have the big checklist of like, here's all the things we need to do before we leave. Have we done everything that we need to so far? Yes. Cool.
Very nice to have that on the list so you don't.
I've roughed my YouTube algorithm. That's fun.
Oh.
Because it knows I'm going to Japan.
Yeah,
because
sure.
I've been watching videos and it's like, hey, do you want to see a 24/7 live stream of Shibuya Scramble? Okay.
I do.
All right, I'll watch it. And now I'm like, they're like, what about these 24/7 live streams from other places in Tokyo? I'm like, that's fine. And now I'm getting suggested like 3-hour like 4K silent walking videos.
Where someone
Tokyo.
just walked around or what?
Yeah.
Wow,
yeah,
that's kind of cool.
Just walks and records it at 4K. No, they're not giving commentary. They're just walking around. So you get the ambient sounds of just being around. But I'm just like, man, my algorithm and what's being fed to me is really, I mean, it's cool right now, but I need to shape it back to something else.
Yeah, you're like, oh, I should have used a different account for this.
Yeah.
Reminds me of Doki Doki Literature Club and what happened to your Steam algorithm after that.
It's still that way. I've tried everything.
Just one game, man.
Just the one. Like, let me look right now. Like,
that's interesting because mine.
Let me count. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 of the new one trending for me are just porn games. This is hilarious. We have Fetish Room 18 plus, Love Sucks Night 2,
Nightly Passions.
What's this? Sex of Thrones prologue.
Yep. Anthony,
Those are the 4.
No, I thought these were what everybody saw. That's because we played that fucking game.
Probably. These are not everyone gets to see these.
Oh no, Anthony. No, mine's ruined too. I was just like, why is new and like everybody wants these kind of games, but it's showing it. No, God, no.
Because I mean, you can go to like the Steam homepage on like a private window. Store.steam powered. I'm not logged in. No. The new and trending is Class of Heroes 1 and 2, Nordic Ashes Pools, Rusty's Entertainment, Sandland, Contractors Showdown, Forewarned, Another Crab's Treasure, Megaton Musashi W, which is a game that released that everyone's like, I'm like, what is this game? That's a side thing where it's a level 5 game. It's a brand new level 5 game that's gotten like no marketing.
Huh. What's it called again?
Megaton Musashi.
Megaton Musashi.
W.
Level 5, really?
Yeah.
Okay. I knew they were coming out with some new game. There is Megaton Musashi W Wired. That one?
Yep.
Okay.
But it's level 5. I was just like, why don't I know about a level 5 game coming out?
Yeah. That's because you've got porn all over the place, apparently.
Yeah, pretty much. Clearly, it doesn't get shown in my popular trending because of that.
Wow, this looks pretty dope, actually. Huh.
Whatever.
Yeah. Okay, well, thanks. Now I'm
talking about
too.
algorithms being just destroyed.
Okay, now I know. At least I was just like, wow, the whole Steam audience is depraved, but no, it's just me. Great, or just us, I should say.
Yeah, I'm sure other people are seeing it too, but
well, yeah, for sure.
But it's definitely one of those things. I'm like, oh, you got to be kidding me.
Can we stop with this? All right. Well, other than all the hentai games we're getting offered on Steam, we are here to talk about some more Nintendo Switch 2 rumors. Some stuff popped up this last week on a variety of sites. We have a WCCFTech article to go through, and then we'll talk about what we've been playing, which is probably Final Fantasy. Although you've been playing Balatro. I saw you on Steam.
Yeah, you've seen me playing Balatro.
Yep. I keep hearing people talk about Balatro in a way that's like, I can't start that game because I will probably just play that game. And
do you like
else.
poker?
I'd love poker. Yeah.
Yeah. Then you shouldn't touch this game until you're real ready for it.
Yep. That's why I did not. After that demo, I was like, that's enough for me. This is going to be my whole year, and I don't want that. All right, so we've got a WCCFTech article here. It's Nintendo Switch 2 will be a, quote, conservative hardware evolution to feature fully backward compatibility and a 1080p screen on the handheld. And then there's some news about what they think the Joy-Con will be magnetically attached, et cetera, et cetera. The Joy-Con will work with the new one, but not as attached, maybe just separately as Bluetooth controllers, and also the Switch Pro controller currently will maybe work as well. Those
Still
are the
connect.
rumors. Yeah. Which is nice. I have a plethora of controllers that I would like to use with the new Switch. So that's awesome, even if it doesn't dock or connect with it. It's still usable. So what do you think? Conservative hardware evolution?
I think this is what I was expecting. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
I didn't expect. I love a conservative hardware evolution. I'm like, wasn't expecting anything like drastic here. They're not getting a drastic power increase. Some, but it's not like, oh, the Switch 2 was going to be somewhere like around a PS4 power or 5, like in between even. Like, no, this is still using mobile tech. You're not going to see that craziness, but I'm happy if these rumors are true. That like I would hope that it's backwards compatible. I've said that before, and I hope that it stays that way. Especially Nintendo handhelds have been, and even the consoles,
like the Wii to Wii U, GameCube to Wii kind of thing.
Yeah, that was all because all disc based, and I'll just use the discs. That was fine. I mean, they couldn't do it from Wii U to Switch because they changed back to carts. And I don't think we'll move away from carts going forward. Flash memory is just way cheaper and way more space than you could ever get on optical media at this point. So,
well, it was the perfect generation to switch it because the Wii U sold so little. It's like, all right, if we're not going to,
no one cares.
This is a time not to worry about backwards compatibility. Let's just move on to the cartridges.
Yeah, and especially if you want a handheld, you don't want moving media.
No, that's not going to work. That's not going to work.
I mean, let's be honest. The PSP, they made it work roughly.
Was the PSP the UMDs? Were those UMDs optical?
Yeah.
What?
I mean, they're discs inside the little case.
Oh my god, I didn't realize that.
I don't know exactly how they made that work without going crazy, but that's probably. I haven't looked into it. I always assume the little case that the disc is in that you slot in that makes it look like more of a cartridge.
Yeah.
Helps protect it from shaking and things like that. But oh yeah. PSP was also the one you could like have a UMD in there and you could like it had some flex to it so you could twist it and you could like shoot the discs out.
Oh my god, it's a fucking weapon.
Yeah.
I'm interested in this 1080p screen. I'm thinking about I'm trying to do the math here. Like, how much bigger would that make it than a regular Switch? In terms of like inches. Like, that's not significantly bigger than the current screen.
I don't think they. The thing is So let's see. What's the screen size on the OLED right now?
I should know that. I don't. It's like an 8-inch. I thought it was 8 inches. That seems.
Yeah, I don't. Well, the Steam Deck's what, 7.2?
Yeah. Let's see.
I think the Switch
it's 7-inch. 7-inch.
It's a 7-inch screen.
Yeah, the OLED.
So I've heard that the rumor is saying it's going to be slightly better, like an 8-inch screen.
Okay. So that's not too much bigger. Yeah, the Switch OLED is 7-inch. The normal Switch was the 6.2.
Yeah. All right. So a little bit bigger. I would expect the screen to be a little bit bigger, but it could still. They could keep it the same size and just have better pixel density, and still get 1080. But I imagine that they'll increase the size a little bit to compensate for this. And 1080p and the handheld, fine. That would fit with the when it's docked now, we're going to be doing some form of 4K potentially.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, some sort of upscaling probably with NVIDIA tech.
Yeah, I mean all these rumors seem to like line up with what I would expect. Let's see. This is the the unconfirmed leak. The Bluetooth chip of Switch 2 will support existing Joy-Con and Pro controllers, and still features HD vibration. But the volume of the new Joy-Con motors will be smaller, and so yeah, the current controller is compatible. They'll still have all the HD vibration, but the motors will be a little bit smaller inside them, which might be good. Might be better on battery life. Smaller motors, less power. Cartridge slot on the Switch 2 will support backwards compatibility, both physical and digital.
Yeah, when I heard that, I was like, that. I just assumed that, but that's good. See that,
that's good confirmation that you can download, if you have digital Switch games, you can download them onto the next Switch and play them still.
Yep.
I don't know why that. However, new game cards designed for the Switch 2 will not be compatible with the original console.
Well, yeah.
You think? Like, the Switch is not forward compatible. I will tell you that.
Certainly.
In handheld mode, the new Joy-Con rails will adopt a horizontal magnetic docking structure for smoother attachment.
That's interesting. I guess it's just horizontal just means it's going in front. There's a magnet in the system side and then in the Joy-Con, so they attach horizontal. Yeah.
I'm very curious about that.
I am too. Because
those need to be really strong.
They do. Otherwise, your fucking thing's going to fall off your Joy-Con while you're playing it handheld. You know?
Which is possible. They could have really strong magnets, but
yeah.
Then I'm very curious on that one.
Unless there's some sort of
there could be a button to deactivate it.
Exactly. That's exactly right. Yep.
Retain USB-C port for docking, compatible with the new generation of docks. Minor design enhancements. That doesn't surprise me. It'll have a dock and it'll be improved. I doubt it will fit into the current dock that we have.
Yeah. Well, I wonder what minor design enhancements even means. There's not going to. I wouldn't imagine there's going to be like
the design dock will include a metal damping bracket for improved angle adjustment.
Okay.
I don't know.
I don't know what that means.
Yeah. Upgraded screen. This thing calls it resembling a refined Pro version of the Switch, which is what I was hoping for. I'll be honest.
It just feels like they could just come out and call this the Switch Pro, but I guess maybe not. But that would.
It's going to be the new Nintendo Switch.
Oh man, what a terrible name! Please no.
It's going to be great.
Oh my god, what a terrible name!
And I will be so thrilled if that actually happens.
They need to call it Nintendo Switch 2. That is what they need to call it. I'm sorry. They won't. They don't. But goddamn, they do.
No.
Have they called Switch anything a 2?
No.
No, never.
Absolutely not. They've never done a 2.
Yeah. Fuck.
They put the number on the front on the DS upgrade.
That's right. The 3DS. And they skipped the 2.
They just moved the number to the beginning.
And they put the 2DS out later. Boy, I mean, this is everything I want. The Switch is it's amazing, and playing the Steam Deck a lot lately. It's just I just love handheld gaming, man. Like the Steam Deck is just amazing to have this versatile library of games that I can hang out on the couch and play with my kid when we're both sick. Like she's playing Tears of the Kingdom, she was playing some Wind Waker, I was playing this. It was awesome. If those games were bound to PC, I'd be like in my booth playing a PC game, and I'm not with anybody. And it's just handheld gaming makes it so you can be around people and still play, which is great.
Yeah. This is pretty great. I'll be honest, I'll be real excited. I want to be able to play Switch games today on, let's call it the Switch 2, and have them, run at 1080p and better frame rate.
Oh, yeah.
Can I play Tears of the Kingdom at 60, please?
That would be great, right?
I would love that. That is the dream.
It is the dream. It kind of makes me think about the arms race for video game console manufacturers or whatever. I really just want 1080p. I want I know 720 is HD, but I want 1080p, solid 60. That's great. I'm good. Yeah.
That'd be amazing.
It would be.
What would get me to pick up Tears of the Kingdom again? That.
Did you find performance issues where what was stopping you from continuing?
It kind of got annoying sometimes.
Yeah.
Like there were definitely places where it was like, oh, I want to leave this as soon as possible. And I will be honest, there would be not enough to make me stop, but it was kind of like it was noticeable at times.
Yeah.
And it was kind of frustrating.
Yeah.
It was pushing the Switch kind of to its limit. Sometimes I'm still amazed that game even ran on a Switch.
With like, obviously performance issues, and frame issues for sure, but I didn't really find any bugs. Never crashed.
No, didn't crash. No bugs. I said I just can't imagine. I can't believe a game like that in that level of like physics, simulation, actually audio simulation stuff. Like there was a
that
GDC
stuff's
talk,
crazy. I heard it.
that came out. It was just like, yeah, don't make a wagon sound. Make a sound for the wheels and the spoke and like different pieces, so that whenever they build it together and it looks like a wagon and it moves like a wagon, it will sound like a wagon.
I thought that is such a simple concept that just blew my mind. Like, yeah, get all the sounds that put things together, and then it sounds authentically like a wagon. Like, wow. As opposed to recording the wagon sound that sounds the same every time. This is like a way to make that sound dynamic. I was blown away by that. Yeah.
Is that publicly available?
It's on the what did you call it? The vault.
Yeah, I just didn't know if it was on, because there's GDC Vault, and some of the talks get kept behind a login.
Yeah, I thought this one was. Because the one that I saw was someone who had recorded it and put it on YouTube.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know if
it's in the vault right now.
That's what
it's not public.
But such a cool concept. And that's just like is the epitome of Nintendo for me, where like that's not, I mean, it is a high tech thing, but it's also not. And like the way that they can leverage like a lower tech and just be really thoughtful about how they design games, like,
yeah.
But I do want the next gen upgrade for Tears and Breath of the Wild.
Oh, Xenoblade Chronicles 3. Oh, that looks so good at that. It's not like its performance was bad. Its performance was also pretty incredible for the fact you had 7 main characters on screen plus enemies at any given time. It was a lot. And it almost always at least stayed above 30. Dipped a little bit, but you could definitely tell that the resolution scaling, dynamic scaling, would get a little chunky sometimes. Yeah, I'm real excited for Switch 2 stuff. I'm still holding that it's not out until spring of next year, but
that's what I think. That's what I think too. Yeah.
I feel like, this article ends with like, has yet to be officially revealed. It is rumored to launch later this year, although some reports say it could slip to early 2025. I think it's already slipped to 2025. I'll be honest. I don't
in
think
the background for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Which is fine. I mean, the Switch launched in the spring, and whatever they need to do to make sure that the launch library is pretty good. Although if it's backwards compatible, their launch library is amazing.
Oh yeah. Anyone who doesn't have a Switch, but there's so many Switches out in the wild. Although that does account for people who bought 2 or 3. So.
Yeah. And I mean, I would get this even if I was, like I said, even if I was playing only Switch games, I would get this.
I mean, it's the reason why I'm not going to pick up a PS5 Pro or whatever, despite the fact that I do want a PS5 with a disc drive finally.
Yeah.
Because I'm happy with my PS5. I don't need to upgrade right now. But I would die for a Switch upgrade, and that's where I'm going to focus my money.
Well, I mean, if it is spring next year, it's 8 years.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I know.
8 years.
It is real crazy.
That's crazy, because that's the year the Switch came out is the year my daughter was born.
Yes.
Oh God, what the fuck?
Yeah.
This is so true. She turns 8 next year. My God.
Yeah. You can always. How old is the Switch? That's the same age as my daughter. Okay.
Exactly.
But it's pretty crazy to think that we've been playing on this thing for, by the time this comes out, it'll be 8 years.
Yeah. And the amount of amazing experiences that we've had on it is you know, there's so much Nintendo stuff wrapped up on it with the Nintendo Switch Online, the GBA, the 64, all that stuff. It's just like, this is the best Nintendo console ever because it has all the old stuff that you want, but then there's a ton of new stuff. And we still have like great stuff coming. The Paper Mario Thousand Year Door looks incredible. And then
I think you're gonna really enjoy that one because you never played it, right?
I've never played it, never touched it, and I loved Origami King, and this looks 10,000 times better than Origami King.
Yeah, so. And know who has that one on Fantasy Critic?
I know. Yes, you picked it up before. You picked it before I did. My only saving grace is I have Metaphor Refantasio.
That's true.
So we like crossed, like I said back then, we crossed somehow in the fucking multiverse because I picked up games that you are excited about.
You tried to counterpick me. I was picking the ones. If you hadn't got them, I would have got there.
Exactly. But, yeah, that's exactly with me too. I saw that you picked up SteamWorld Heist 2. Yeah,
Heist 2. Good. I think it's going to be a solid pickup. Yeah. Looking at it more. I
am so gun shy after picking up a couple of 3-point
like Harold Halibut, Sandland. Hey, Rising Tide is on the up. It got up to 78. And Stellar Blade is on the down.
Yeah, I saw that. It's down to 82 at this
82.
point.
Man, come on. I think it's going to probably sit around 81, 82. It's going to flatten out.
It sounds about right.
I've watched some gameplay of it more. That's basically where I'd put it.
I've played some gameplay of it. We can maybe pivot to what we've been playing here.
Sure.
I picked up was picked up for me Stellar Blade and played it a couple nights ago. It continues your save from the demo, but for some reason in the demo I beat the boss, and here it put me before the boss of the demo, so I had to beat the boss again, which is fine. It was fun to get back into the flow. But afterwards, moving on through the level, it really emphasizes to me that this is like intentional combat. It is not hack and slash. Because even just like regular enemies were giving me a lot of problems as I'm moving through the level. I was like, oh boy, yeah, I need to really focus here. So that's actually a good thing, I think. Even though I was looking for something I could turn my brain off with. It plays well. For what it is, it's really well made, and I'm looking forward to playing more of it. But I can see it settling at an 80 to be honest.
I was watching some of it, and there's definitely parts that I was like, okay, this looks cool, but then it was a streamer that was playing through, like, got into like a lot more of the very open level stuff, and there was some odd jank at times. They were like, that seems weird animation going on and like pretty rigid in some ways at times. I was like, that's weird. Again, where I would expect it to be. It's like a bigger game, but not as polished as you see those like 9s and 10s in the end. Yeah,
it seems like a really great first attempt for the studio for a console. I think
for like for much bigger game, because they haven't done one like this before.
First step into like,
which is commendable.
Yeah. But I'm happy to have it. I'm happy to be playing it. So we'll see how far I get by in the next couple of weeks. I'm playing other games, but I plan to put more time into it before the year's over.
Very cool.
And then I played a little bit more Slay the Princess. I started just practicing streaming. My setup. I'm still working out some kinks, obviously. But man, the Slay the Princess narrative is wild. It's very.
I watched maybe like 5 minutes you playing to some gory thing, and I was like, I'm gonna stop right now. This is crazy.
She got fucking like swords coming out of her arms, and spoilers, I suppose. No, not I suppose. This is a spoiler. She fucking just turns into a entity full of blades, with a beating heart in the middle. And it's like, oh my god! And then you kill or be killed and restart, but things are different, and it is more than I thought it was, and it's really cool. I really have enjoyed that narrative. And the other one's Final Fantasy XII, but I will get into that in a moment. I'll pivot to you and ask you what you've been playing.
Honestly, most of this week I've just been played Balatro a lot. Just got back to it and was like, oh, I want to play a little bit more of this. And when you play a little bit more, you just start playing a lot more. And I was like, okay, I want to at least do it's the white. What do they call it? The white chip. Like base difficulty of all my currently unlocked decks. And I finished that today. I have completed a run with every base level deck, and now I have to go up to the next difficulty. The game is just, if you like poker, it's just poker but crazy. And the jokers are incredibly creative. So you just start unlocking more jokers, and there's dozens, if not maybe like 70. I don't know. There's a lot, and so there's a lot of variation of like how you have to create your poker hand engine going, but you have an economy that you're also trying to do, and then I'm now learning about the time when you want to like early game like build your economy engine and then shift over at some point of selling off your economy to get like your big poker hand plays, jokers that can just like really increase the like your score. So real addicting in that way. Maze, this was made just by one person who had never really played poker.
Whoa, I didn't realize that fact.
No.
Whoa.
Nope.
What made them want to do that then?
I don't know.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. And yeah, you can just shape your kind of deck, your playing card deck, and just shape it into just crazy variations of like, I'm going to make a hand of 5 of a kind because I've copied other cards in my deck and deleted other cards and changed suits of different cards. It is very simple in that way that it's poker, and this is one of I love it so much is because of how simple it is, but how deep it is on that simplicity. Not shocking that I like things like that. Because you can just easily get into it, like, oh, I know how to play poker. I understand poker hands. I'm just trying to make a good hand. And then it just builds and builds and builds and builds and builds. And you start figuring out crazy things, and you see jokers and combinations. You're like, I want to put these together and see what happens. I still haven't made a hand that gives me 1 million points. I think my top is just over 300,000 points, which was insane. Like normal end of run, you only need to score typically around 100k points with your final hand to beat that level. So have based on my achievement lists on friends, I know 3 or 4 people that have got the achievement for over a hand that's scored over 1 million points. And I don't know how to make that engine. I'm like, I want to know how to do that. But you're not guaranteed. It is a roguelike. There's a lot of randomness about what jokers you're presented to buy and get. So there's a lot of restarting as well. But Balatro is a great game. One of us should have picked it up for the
nothing
Critic.
I regret more than playing it. And I was like, this is an amazing game. I'm hearing people talk about how great they thought it was. And I was like, I think the way it looks is going to hurt it. And that was so stupid. So stupid.
Yeah, I think the way it looks is great. It helps it.
Yeah.
It's simple. That's where the simplicity of it is. It's like all that pixel art for the cards, but just has like a great level of polish for that pixel art. The way the cards shake, the way things burn. Like there's a lot of just subtle, nice effects for the game. Shows a level of polish and care that you don't see a lot. Man, it's a great game. I highly recommend anyone buy this thing. It's great.
Yeah.
And it runs amazing on the Steam Deck, has full Steam Deck support.
Super cool.
So that's what I did last night. I just laid on the couch from like 10 o'clock at night to like midnight. Lights all out, completely dark, and I just have the Steam Deck. Just playing poker hands. Just
playing Balatro.
Yeah.
You weren't playing your third version of P5 Royal?
I booted up just to make sure how it would run, because it is Steam Deck verified. And I need to get into it. I just know that like, I need to dedicate probably 45 minutes to an hour just to get through the first chunk opening where I can then save. But my God, do those colors pop on the OLED screen?
Oh yeah.
Like, holy cow.
It's beautiful.
I'm like, oh my God, this game looks so good. I need an OLED TV so I can play it on that. That will happen. I guarantee you, I think by the end of this year, I'm getting an OLED TV.
I ended up going QLED instead of OLED, but yeah, I mean, it looks amazing. So anything is an upgrade. Yeah, anything's an upgrade. That OLED screen, man. I mean, I've had it on the Switch for a while, but man, the one thing about the Switch 2, going back to that real fast, is if it's not an OLED screen, I'll be like,
it's not. I don't think it's going to be at the moment. I wonder if they'll do an OLED in the future.
Oh, fuck yeah, they will. To sell new ones, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've got on the. I know that you picked up P5R on the Golden Week sale on Steam. I've got the Yorha edition of Automata in my cart. Thinking about it. Thinking. They're doing.
I need to play that one. I mean, I have it on PS4. I just haven't.
Yeah,
I could play it on the. I could play it on the 5.
Yeah,
and I think I can run it at the higher, at like the. I think it has a graphics mode that runs really well, like it whatever the Pro version setting was for it.
I just I have the original Nier Automata on the PS4 disc based, but not the.
Yeah, and I have the Yorha.
Yeah, that's not the Yorha one, and also I don't have the disc is in the garage, so
I should play it. I've been looking at it. I'm like, oh, I should. At some point, I will. I'll just put it in. I'll just play through it because I know it's. And I've heard, and I'm pretty sure it is an amazing. So
yeah, when Axe of the Blood God's doing it as their monthly at the Pantheon, or as the Game Club, one of the two. So people in the Discord are just talking about it constantly. I'm like, yeah, and about how obviously with Stellar Blade out, like how Stellar Blade took influence from Nier very openly, but Automata just seems like the superior game. So although they're both fun, whatever. So I'm thinking about it. I have so many games. I don't need to.
Yeah, that's the problem. There are so many.
So many. That's why the RPG backlog exists. The other podcast we're going through Final Fantasy XII. Nice pivot here. Boy. So you told me to get through. Let's see here. Through to the end of the shrine, the still shrine of Miriam.
Yeah.
Right before the long road to Archimedes or Archimedes or whatever it is.
Arcades.
Okay, there we go.
Yes.
And then, stopping there to do the next segment of the other podcast with Travis. But then I didn't want to stop. I did some hunts. I just started filling out the map, and I ran into a random Esper.
Right.
Oh, boy. I forgot the name of that one, but it was I can look it up in Discord, but it was a really long, weird-ass name.
Adremelech.
That's right. And that boss stomped me like 4 times because you'd get to the last 20% of its health, and I couldn't do anything to it, I guess because it has ancient defense or something on it. So then when I finally went back in, this is why I love it. I love the way this game is set up, where I feel like the main story right now, like I'm moving into the place that you just said. I forgot the name of it again. Jesus Christ. Going towards the Empire, basically.
Yeah,
Arcades. And I feel like I'm doing pretty well. Like it's pretty easy in terms of combat, and I'm not having to think too much. And obviously the gambits help, but I'm not having to reconfigure things too much. I'm starting to add more gambits, and really that system's starting to flesh out even more, where I'm making sure I'm casting haste and regen and shell and protect and whatever. I'm starting to use those starting to use more of my repertoire as opposed to just a few things. But then I go to like the random hunts or the optional hunts or a random Esper, and it's like I'm getting stomped. Like, okay, I'm glad it's there for people who want that, or every once in a while I don't really want it, but I run into it. I'm like, I got to do it now that I'm here, and I bear down for an hour and figure it out, and that was just a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm surprised. That one, I'm sure, was pretty challenging at your level.
It was. The way that I finally figured it out, or was able to do it, is I needed to melt its health bar before it had a chance to do the patient defense. So I started off by, I forget which one what it's weak to. Was it like Blizzard or something? Blizzaga?
Yeah, it's ice.
Yeah,
stuff.
Ice. Yeah, exactly. So I did that for probably a third of its health bar, that and just, regular attacks. And then I switched over to the quickenings. And then I started blasting it with like 10, 11, 12 in a row. And then I switched out a character and brought in someone who had more quickenings. And then they started a new chain with the people who had already exhausted theirs. So I just blew it away with quickenings for the end of it. That's such an interesting.
I mean, you've learned a tactic. That is a thing you can do.
That is exactly. I feel it. I kept in my head equating it to Elden Ring, where you can summon someone in, where like you have fun, you do your thing, and you're like, okay, now I need some help. So being able to exploit the quickening system is interesting. That allows you to do that, but it also is like a risk. I don't know if it's risk reward, but it like has the timer system with the shuffle, so you can't always exploit it as much as you want.
I mean, it's risky if you only have one person coming in.
Absolutely.
And you've exhausted the other two. They're hoping you get mischarges.
Exactly.
Showing up for the other ones. And if you don't, you don't. And then you're like, oh, all right, that was a waste.
Well, and one other thing, it wasn't a waste because not this enemy, but a different one. I think it was a hunt where it stopped and I didn't get enough that I needed. I came back and they had probably 10% left and I just wailed on them. And I was like, okay, it got me to the finish line and then I'm going to finish it off. It's just a lot of fun. And now I'm at the point where, spoilers for Final Fantasy XII, I get to the hunters on
the Fawn Coast.
Yeah. And it's like, oh yeah, I'm Balthazar. I used to be a judge. And by the way, Sid's my dad. Like, what the fuck? What's happening?
I was wondering what you were saying. Wow. I was like, I wonder if it's that cutscene where it's just like,
it was, yes.
Oh.
The game is so interesting because it doesn't give you that many cutscenes, really. Like there's like enough, maybe like a minute or 2 minutes of cutscene, enough story to get you going on to the next thing and contextualize what you're doing. But I wish there was more. But that was really surprising.
Yeah, getting his backstory. Again, he's the son of Dr. Sid. That's a fun one. I won't talk too much more because you're going to get a little bit further over this next week. You'll get through the Arcades, and when I say Arcades, I also mean Draclor as well.
Okay.
Because that's in Arcades. Like, if you can get through that whole chunk, I won't talk about anything, but maybe next week we can chat just a little bit.
Because once I get through Draclor,
I want to know. Go ahead.
No, I say that once I get through Draclor, is it kind of like then it's like downhill from there, or is there still more?
It's weird. I don't think it's downhill, but you're getting to the point where Matsuno left.
Oh, interesting.
And there is a slight change. I think you can see his framework still there. It's just not. It's a pretty consistent thing. People are like, the back chunk of the game just isn't executed as well as this front half in that regard. And you can tell it's just like, this is about the time he bowed out, was around Arcades. Again, he had written the whole framework for what the game was and everything. So it's not like it's a complete like, oh, this is trash. It's just like, oh, okay, the presentation's a little bit different now.
Sure.
But there's some pretty great reveals. I'm waiting for a spot you'll get to probably while I'm in Japan. I'm like, you and Travis are going to hate your life, I think.
Oh no, just because of the gameplay?
There is a map in this game that is pretty incredibly labyrinthine. And I highly recommend a guide map to know your way through these very similar looking areas.
Oh, I hate that shit. Okay, thank you. That's a good hit. I hate getting lost like that and wasting my time. So that's good to know.
I just remember when I did it, there was no maps.
Oh yeah, sure.
I was just like, and even the guide didn't have a great map for it. The actual physical guide for the original PS2, and I was like, oh no. I busted out like drawing circles and lines on a notepad to navigate my way through that place back in the day. You'll know when you get there.
For sure.
It's a beast.
Well, I'm using a guide to, like, I'll look at the guide that I'm using is Neoseeker, and it's like very general. So it's like, here's in general what's going to happen. That gives me a good framework. So I guess I'll know ahead of time which one, because it'll say something like, this area is fucking hard to navigate or something like that. I might know ahead of time. Yeah, sounds like an understatement, I'm sure. back to the beginning of our podcast real quick. I forget what I just clicked on Steam, but my store new and trending has changed. I went into some setting to turn off adult content, and now it's gone. So that was nice. I'm not sure
but I'm afraid of changing that. I know that setting, but I'm afraid of changing it because I'm like, what if there's a game that I actually want to see?
I decided that an adult only game is probably not one that I'm going to be interested in.
Probably not. But
yeah. Because there's like 5 tiers, right? And one's like, some sexuality, some sexual and nudity or whatever. That's fine. And then it's like lots of nudity, and then it's like adult only. So
yeah, that's probably true.
Yeah. But now that I've done that, my new and trending has Another Crab's Treasure and Megaton Musashi on it.
Okay, it goes back to that one.
Yeah,
okay.
That's cool. That's very cool.
So I'm glad you're enjoying the game, though. You were flying though through these. Where was it? The moss, the high wastes, and then you got to the silica wood, and you're all through the coast. I'm like, how?
Well, I was talking to Travis. I was like, well, getting to the next part that you had mentioned, Anthony, I was like, that's going to take me like 10 hours. I'm like, nope, never mind. It is not. I probably put in maybe 2.5 hours today. Maybe less than that, actually. Around 2 is probably right about it. Yeah, because I was really surprised how Travis was flying through it, but now I'm like, oh, now I'm flying through it.
I mean, you can. I guess it just depends on what you're... The high waste doesn't surprise me. The silica wood takes some time. I thought would take some time.
Mm-hmm. Maybe there's stuff I missed. Like I filled out the map and then I found the Moogles, opened the gate. I did not go out the gate where they talked about the bombs being out there.
Oh, you didn't try that?
I did not go that way.
Try that. Okay.
Yeah. Should
Maybe that's why it was faster for you. Yeah. I didn't know if you'd beat your head against that one for a while.
No, I didn't go out that way. So maybe I'll go back and try that one day if I'm waiting for Travis at a certain point. But
that is definitely a gate to a bunch of optional stuff.
Okay.
But you have to be a certain height to ride that ride.
Yeah, I'm not sure. That is a
test. I will tell that.
Yeah, I'm probably not there. I'm 30. All my characters are level 30 right now.
Oh, you're okay. I think.
Okay.
In general, for that area.
I wonder what level I'd be if I hadn't tried to level everyone up evenly. If I just stuck with 3. But then I'd be fucked in a lot of these fights.
40 probably.
Yeah, that sounds right. So,
but no, I try to keep everyone leveled all the time as well. Yep. I swap in and out to keep everyone even.
I've got 2 trios, and I've got 2 healers basically, and then the other 2 ranged and 2 melee. So it's kind of easy to mix and match.
Yeah.
But
something like, okay, you're there, and you went through there at the coast. Honestly, it depends. Yeah, you basically have two more areas to get to until you're at Arcades, the start of it. So, but I do think there is something that he said about. I said get to the Socian, into the Socian Cave Palace. I would say do all of Arcades and Draclor together, finish all that, get to through the cutscenes and the stuff after that, and then that would be a good place to just make sure you're recording something.
Perfect.
So there's that. I'm thinking how many more chunks there would be. There'd be Arcades. It's 1. The chunk after Arcades, 2, 3. Probably, if you just mainline it, 4 more chunks, I would say.
Okay, that sounds about right. That sounds about right. My game clock is at 29 hours right now, and I'm thinking probably this is a 40-hour game for me.
Could be. Yeah.
Yeah, and at that point, I think I'll probably be ready to be done with it. I'm enjoying it, and I like some of the optional stuff, but I'm not seeking out a ton of optional stuff. I like it when I stumble across it, but I think I would be pretty frustrated if I tried to do 10 in a row or something like that.
Sure.
So yeah. But I'm enjoying it. The story stuff, I wish there was more to it, more being given to me. But what is there is really good in my view.
Yeah, there's more coming too. So
cool. That's very cool. I liked Fran's stuff. I liked Baltier's little reveal here. It's very economical in what it's revealing, but it's very, very interesting and engaging. So
yeah, and going back to speaking to the thing of being like, it's not really Vaughn's story or Penelo's story.
No.
Like, all these other characters, you're hearing these reveals about them and what's going on. It is an ensemble story, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's not Vaughn's story. He's there. He's there for a reason, and I think I've been reading some on that, and there's definitely more of a backlash that Vaughn wasn't a chosen one, like every other Final Fantasy protag, like that main character. Vaughn's not the chosen one.
No.
He just isn't. That's not what the story is.
And Penelo's like less than that.
Yes.
She's like basically fucking nothing.
Kind of.
I know Revenant Wings, those two carry forward and do their thing.
Yeah, I actually have that. I haven't played it.
I think I'm gonna dive into it. I've been thinking about the RPG Backlog podcast and how this is taking a long time to get through one game, which I'm enjoying, and that's what the point of it is. But thinking about how I can touch more games in the backlog, and I'm thinking about games that I don't plan on playing, but I want to touch. Just doing a little thing called like an evening with whatever it is.
Yeah.
And then just play it for a couple hours and see what it's like.
Yeah,
but not commit past that.
That one can, definitely continues their characters and everything. I think the most that you learn of Penelo is just for however bad Vaughn's life was, Penelo's is worse.
Oh, great.
No, in the way of we're like, Vaughn's brother died and parents died. Penelo's parents took Vaughn in as Penelo's friend, and then Penelo's parents died, and now Penelo's just alone. Yeah, with Vaughn. That's it. And you're like, wow, this is really kind of depressing when you think about it. They don't touch on it too much, but I'm like, honestly, the backstories for both of Vaughn and Penelo are pretty depressing. Which is meant to show the fact that the people that are the collateral of war going on.
I like that because like that's we do need that perspective in those kind of stories, and we don't usually get it because as you said, the backlash is not always that exciting. So it's not meant to be. It's just like, this is the consequences of greater actions happening. And a lot of games don't want to, like I said, that's not the chosen one kind of narrative there. You want to be, and we've been trained, and most people that make games have been trained to be like, no, the player wants to be doing a power fantasy or wants that kind of story arc. And so it's always a little shocking when a game's like, nah, we're not giving you that. And then 12 is like, I mean, Ash is kind of the chosen one in the whole story. I feel like she's the main character for sure.
She really is.
And she's my favorite character.
And it's pretty interesting. I mean, you've made it through some good stuff there of her now really having to grapple with what she wants.
And this storyline that she just had, or this cutscene that she just had with Baltier, was really short, but just packed full of stuff about her and him that I thought was really cool.
Yeah. I mean, that's Matsuno's storytelling anyway, is always pretty economical. Tactics is very economical in its use of its cutscenes and its dialogue. It doesn't want to be... Definitely isn't a game that wants to like hear itself talk. It's like...
Yeah, it definitely doesn't seem to be doing that. Yeah.
And 12 is the same way. It's like, no. How can we get across what we want to get across in the most... compact and kind of succinct way, but also provides a certain level of power in those words as well. So
I could just use that. That totally makes sense. I could just use it a little bit more of like less grinding, more story, but it's almost there anyway, so it's fine. And I'm enjoying filling out the maps and just like grinding animals as I go through. I just don't want to come back and grind more to grind levels.
I get that
very much. So,
but cool. Yeah. I'm effectively at the point. No, I'm not even effectively. I am at the point in the game where I can go to the last battle.
Oh, cool.
In 12, I'm just not doing it yet. When I have played, just been doing side stuff, and I think I'll wait on that point. And honestly, I might be back from my trip and can do it. When you and Travis do it.
That'd be fun. It'd be fun. I'm thinking about, because Travis and I are going through on the RPG backlog about this game, and it's fun because we're discovering stuff about the game by talking to each other. we're like, oh, I don't know. He's like, I don't know how to do this. I'm like, oh, you do it this way. I'm like, I have no idea how to do this thing. And he's like, oh, you just do it like this. And we're like teaching each other as we go. So it's more about like two people who are like learning about the game as they're playing. But I would love to do like a final, almost like a spoiler cast where like everything's known at the end, just one comprehensive look back at everything. So I'd love to have you on if you want to do that.
Yeah.
But otherwise, you would just be like beating your head against the wall, listening to us talk about what the hell we're saying.
Yeah, and I don't want to. And I also just don't. I want you to have that experience. Yeah, because in a lot of ways, that's the experience that I had when I first got it on PS2 back in the day. It was like, what do you do? You just poke at it and you figure it out.
Yep, exactly.
Looking at GameFAQs forums, that's what I remember doing that and being like, "Did someone ask this question?"
I spent about 45 minutes today reading through GameFAQs forums like from 17 years ago. And I was like, wow, this is really interesting questions people are asking and what levels they think they should be at certain spots. And it's like, oh, I remember these days of the internet. Those were nice. Those were nice. Oh, well.
Yeah.
Anything else for the podcast tonight?
No, I'm pretty good.
Awesome. Well, thank you for being here for episode 429 of Prof and Dev Play Games. If you like us, please rate us on your podcast service of choice. We've also got the Patreon back up. We got just a one-tier, $1 shout out. So check that out if you're interested. Also, I started streaming on the Prof and Dev Play Games YouTube channel. Just some small stuff to figure out how it works. We'll figure that out more in the summer. But just, come by. Check it out. I'm going to stream sometime this week. I'm going to stream just me of an hour with Manor Lords just to capture how I do with that for the first hour. Because it's on Game Pass. So I downloaded it.
Yeah, that was crazy. I didn't realize it was also there.
I didn't either until, because I was interested in picking it up. But I'd rather play it and see if I like it before I commit to the So I've got till the 10th, I think. All right. Well, anything else? We will be back next week. I'm sure there'll be something happening in the next week, some sort of announcement of some kind we can talk about.
I'm sure.
Sony or Nintendo or Xbox has an ID event coming up. So we'll be back to talk about it. All right. Thanks so much, folks.
All right. Later, everyone.